Greetings, grace, peace, and blessings. I just wanted to talk about how um, when there's these people that are offended when you bring up the scamdemic, when you bring up the harms, the medical malfeasance, the medical malpractice that occurred in 2020 before and ongoing. So I I was writing a comment in the comments section about there was some reference to medical students, and so I said that the sad truth is medicine wants medical people to maim and kill patients because when you maim children from the very beginning, what does that do? That makes medicine money and it controls the population because the whole family is invested in taking care of the child. So it disables the family. So the family is unable to pay attention to politics. It's unable to pay attention to the economy because when you disable a child, that just it takes so much. Like the other children who are maybe healthy don't get the attention that they need, and so everything, if a family is kind of decent, because they're trying to help the disabled child. So and just look into it is all I'm saying. But so I said medicine wants to maim people in the name of and kill people in the name of depopulation. So we know the globalists tell us all the time that there's too many people. We need to get rid of like 1/7 or no, 7, like we need like, 1/7 of the population, 1/8 of the population that exists. So they want to kill like 80%, 90% of the population. Like they tell us this. They tell us this. And when somebody like me says, "I don't want to die, I don't want everybody around me to be genocided," then there's these trolls that gaslight, insult, tease, um, you know, that we should like it. We should just let them maim and kill us and genocide us and have no complaints. Just shut up and keep paying them big money. Because that's what's going on is there's financial incentives. So just look at and so I wrote, just look at the high rates of sudden deaths of athletes and babies with the popular poison pokes and the mass cover up about it all. So we know since 2021 with the warp speed, we have had more athletes, young, healthy athletes die, the past few years than like it's just a lot. And they're trying to pass off sudden infant death syndrome, like they're trying to say that that's just a natural occurrence, even though it happens right after babies get their poison pokes. And anyways, then add how organs are harvested out of these young healthy people out of the babies, because especially so organ harvesting is a big thing, it's been a big thing, but after the lockdowns and the scamdemic, when all bets were off, there were no family there to protect people, so hospitals were able to do whatever they wanted, and now organ harvesting is even a bigger business, and it's very lucrative. And so then this guy was like, "Oh, I must have missed that in school." And I wrote, "Look at the statistics. Lockdowns killed people with ventilators and remdesivir. This is a known thing. This is like there are like this has come out in the public record, because remdesivir is hard on your kidneys. It was tested originally years ago for Ebola, and they removed it from the test because it killed so many people. So remdesivir is known as a dangerous substance and it's contraindicated. But they brought a poison that's contraindicated into a situation where it wasn't needed because it shut down people's kidneys. So remdesivir shut down people's kidneys. Then the ventilators. So these people were having issues. I don't know if it was um, anxiety, like, I guess people said they couldn't breathe, but it wasn't that they had phlegm, they weren't coughing. In During 2020, did you hear anybody, like, with a lot of congestion? No. So, but, they were treated as if they had congestion. So, when you have a ventilator on somebody who's, like, on a paralytic, on who's, doped up, so they don't have phlegm, but you put them on a ventilator, so that ventilator shears away the alveoli. It shears away the part of your lungs that bring in oxygen. So they basically disabled people's lungs, and they disabled people's kidneys. Okay, and this guy Caranthos is like trying to gaslight me, and then two other people start jumping in, and then other people are liking what these guys are saying. Now, add how fentanyl is everywhere, and fentanyl is what's given to people before they get their organs harvested. And I think the fact that fentanyl is ubiquitous means, like, the hospital just wants it convenient, so have everybody exposed to fentanyl and ready to be harvested. Because why is it everywhere? And then I pointed out that during the lockdowns in 2020, 300,000 people committed suicide that summer. And nobody cares. Like, we have survived this horrible genocide that occurred in our lifetime, 6 years ago, and we're supposed to be quiet about it, and we're supposed to let it happen again. And so then this guy's like, "Okay, sure thing, pal." And heads up, there's a couple countries outside of the United States and a few billion people. Like, I don't know what that's about, like, what he's trying to say. Um, and my point is that, and I describe it, that the majority of CV deaths, do you know where that was? The majority of CV deaths were in the UK and the United States. And you know where in the UK and the United States where these deaths were? Were they in people's homes? Were they in schools? No, it was at nursing homes and hospitals. How convenient that the majority of this scamdemic happened in the UK and USA in hospitals and nursing homes. And it's because this was a statistically manipulated scam where people were tortured to death because they weren't given water, they weren't given food, they were put on remdesivir, they were put on ventilators, and they died a horrible, excruciating death, if not, having their organs harvested before they totally died. And so then JR says, "Do you feel your ridiculousness is tiring? Does it wear you out? Just because a single minute of reading of what I said is exhausting." That's what JR says. See, he's saying I'm puking things out. Now, when people have been okay, when one person has been tortured and murdered, that's a story that needs to be heard. When hundreds, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people have been tortured and murdered, genocided, and people are gloating and laughing about it and trying to hide it and hush it up. Yeah, this needs to be discussed. And it's so despicable how people think it's funny, like, think it's like what innocent patients went through in nursing homes and hospitals in the US and the UK. Like, shame on these people for blowing it off. And um, they're trying to, like, I can't find my comments, so it's like some, like, anyway. So then this other person says, "Wow, just wow, you're literally throwing out paranoid conspiracy garbage." Now I can show, there's links, there's proof from the CDC and other legitimate sources. The New York Times, there's the public record stands behind what I'm trying to say, but it's so traumatic. It's so horrible what happened. Nobody wants to know. And I think it's very important for people to know. because they're gonna try to do it again. They want to disable, depopulate, and steal our wealth and steal whatever else they can get. Like they're the oligarchs, the psychopaths that are running the world are especially crazy right now, and they're desperate. And I think it's a matter of urgency. It's not just some, you know, little point that I'm talking about. I feel like it's a timely issue that people need to be made aware of. Anyway, so this person, Sawyer Presley, says every single claim I made, they're claiming is false, dangerous, unhinged. Hospitals don't execute patients. Organs aren't harvested from random people. Ventilators aren't some global murder tool. Stop spreading lies that make people scared of actual life saving care. You're not exposing some secret that nobody knows. You're a literal idiot. Okay. And that's what, but he has no proof. He has no proof, and I have proof. Okay. Um, So, for instance, Dr. Paul Byrne talks, his last name is Byrne, talks about how when you sign up to be an organ donor, you go, you, you're never told that you're still alive when you're donating, and after, and you're given a paralytic. So when they're harvesting your eyeball or harvesting your heart or whatever, you're still alive because they need your circulation to be running in order for the transplant to go well for the person who's going to remain alive. So you're dead to them while you're still alive. And after the lockdowns, organ harvesting has boomed. It's like it, and there's all sorts of controversy going on about that. Um, and unfortunately, not all of my comments are here, but like it's just such a upsetting situation that people are denying the unethical situation that occurred in hospitals by doctors, and then add, just the stuff going on with poison pokes, and how people are just pushing, like trying to suppress the truth, and it's an issue. So I might do more on this topic, but I just wanted to start with this for now. So, what do you guys think? And yeah, how do we get people to just see the truth? I'm not trying to talk about some conjecture, some guesses. We have facts. We have lawsuits that have been brought to bear. Like, what do we do to get these staunch supporters of genocide? How do we wake them up? Is my question. So thanks for watching. God bless.